and the first of the camera movements, or camera effects, when creating animations. We can talk about zoom. It's not in fact a camera movement. Why? Because the camera stands still, but we can get closer to the object using what? Closing the lens, right? So we have, for example, a wide angular, and we change it to a tele. This effect of changing the lens is the camera zoom, for example, and that's what we're gonna simulate in 3D. Alright, I confess that I don't remember the last time I used zoom in any of my animations. But yes, you can see it a lot in cinema, especially when there's a bigger plan and you want to focus on something dramatically specific, like this. And that shows up. So it depends on the way you want to tell what you need. You're gonna use zoom. And it is a cinematographic movement that exists in real life. I want to teach you how to do it. So I created a very basic scene. As I said, first, you're gonna learn the movements first in the animations. As we did with the spheres and move, we also gonna use a simple scene here. For this camera movement, and this scene is in the video description, so you can download it. And then, later on, we're gonna work on more complex scenes, interior and exterior scenes, to apply everything that you learn in. Anyway, I recommend that you also do it in simple scenes, before doing it in complex scenes. What are we gonna do here? I'm gonna create a camera, right? A Corona cam. I'm gonna put it here, for example, facing this way, alright? I'm gonna press C to go to the camera, with the middle mouse button. I'm gonna raise a bit, let's say I want it this high. I'm gonna select the camera, which is here, camera 1. I go to its modifier. What I'm gonna do? I'm gonna activate auto key, right? And here, with the camera selected, I want it 28 millimeters, let's say 30. I'm gonna add a lens, focal, 30 millimeters, and gonna lock it, and 30 millimeters. I go to the 72, it is still 72 here. If you open it, it will be 100. Do you remember that? You can also set it to 72. It's alright. And in 72, I want 70 here. What happened? It turned red here in the focal. It's because it already created a key. I can disable auto key now. And if I play it, check it out. We have a zoom. Take a look. So this is the zoom. It is just for you to see that basically everything we have in 3D Studio Max can be animated. Later, we're gonna learn how to animate light and some other things. So as you see, we just animated the camera lens. And this is the zoom effect. If you see the camera, it is standing still. And it looks like nothing happens. If we select it, we can see the lens changing, closing. You see? So it's everything still, and what changes is the lens. I'm gonna take the opportunity and teach you how to generate a preview. Just remember I said that if you press play here, it's not always in the correct speed. Of course, that for this simple scene, it may be, but if you do that in a complete, complex scene, it's probably gonna crash. And it won't work. For you to generate a preview for this camera, the first thing we do in the animations is always to render it in HD 1280 by 720 or Full HD 1920 by 1080. So you can choose if you want to render it in HD or in Full HD. Here at Oficina 3D, we deliver everything in Full HD. So Full HD, why is it? Just to, look, Shift F, to be framed in the Full HD proportion. What I'm gonna do now, I want to generate a preview from this. I go to Tools, Preview, grab Viewport, that is going to generate a preview, grabbing the viewport, and create preview animation. What can we do here? Active time segment. What does that mean? Yes, it's supposed to generate a preview from what is in the time slide until 72, alright? If I want, I can change it to customizable. I want it from 0 to 72. Here I'm gonna set how many frames per second I want. Remember I said about 24 frames per second. So here I can set it to 24. Here is the size of the preview. Do I want it 100%? As I set it to Full HD, 1920 by 1080. So I can make it 50%, for example. It is just a preview. I can make it smaller. Alright? What else do you need to know from here? What do you want to show? Geometry, particles. Actually, the only thing you need here is geometry. But if you had added this, it's not in the scene, so there's no problem. But sometimes you don't want to show the shape. For example, you have lines, guides, or something that is not renderable. And you can see it in the preview, so you can remove it, alright? Another thing that you can add here, visual style. As you see here, the visual style that I see here now is standard plus edge faces. So you can change it to standard plus edge faces. Where is it? Edge face is not possible, because it works when I activate with F4. But I can make it as default shading, alright? Default shading. I'm gonna create here. Take a look. You can add it to output. File. Let me see it. Where is it gonna save? It's saving in the 2021 folder. In my case, in previews. Just for you to know, it is in previews. You can also change where you want to save your preview. Alright, let's go. I'm gonna leave it standard and I'm gonna keep it in default shading, which is this visual style. Whether I want to show the textures or not. Anyways, but what you actually need to change is that what I showed you here. And you're gonna say which camera you want. In this case, I just have one camera, so you just choose the one is here. But sometimes you have more cameras. You can choose which viewport you want to generate a preview. And here it's saying, play the preview as soon as it's finished. Yes, I want it to play as soon as it's finished. So I'm gonna create and let's see what happens. Check it out. There it is. We have a preview of the animation. Alright. As all the objects here, I froze them for us to not select anything and don't modify it, so it's very white, just like that. But if we want to freeze all, it would look like this, alright? If we want to use clay, we can use clay here. Do you wanna see? Go to Tools, grab Viewport, create Preview Animation. You can select clay here, for example. Look, create. Done. Let's see. Look. We generated the animation preview. You can save all these videos, so then you can assemble the structure of your film when you do it, so you don't need to render them all again. Then, in the film structure, you may discover that, well, it wasn't that nice. It should have been more time, less time, faster, slower, so you can check it through this preview. And if by any chance you thought that maybe it was too slow, you want it faster, I'm gonna select the camera again. And something I can do, check it out. I have 72 frames, right? I can select this key and change it to 48. Check it out. So I have 2 seconds of animation. So when I come here, 48, and then it stopped. I brought the keyframe from 72 and moved that to 48. So now when I come here, grab Viewport, create Preview Animation. Here I'm gonna set it to 0 to 48. I'm gonna create. Let's see now. Look. Nice, right? That's the way you do the zoom animation. And I also showed you how you can preview your animations. Let's go to the next camera movement.